Hey guys, welcome. I am Morgan, founder CEO of Paper Raven Books, and I have with us Michael Oster, the author of Level Up: How to Use Your Unique Strengths to Develop Your Competencies and Reach Your Goals. Thanks for being here, Mike.
Thanks, Morgan.
I am super excited for us to have this conversation today. In fact, we kind of had to pause a bit as we were just chatting just now before we hit record, before we hit go live, because you've launched a book. You're on the other side. You're a published author. And so what we're doing today, your book launched May 5th, 2020. And what we're doing today is kind of a relaunch, a newer promotion of the book. And this is a great opportunity for you and I just to reconnect and say, what's been going on? Since you become a published author. And a couple of things I know we're going to talk about here today are what's it like, some of our strategies to continue to keep your book visible in the Amazon bookstore, some of those promotions we've been running. Also, you've been really busy on your end. You've been submitting your book for different awards and reviews and critiques, and you have a couple from, one from Reader's Favorite, one from Writer's Digest self-published. And so we can talk about that. And then also just what's been happening in your world since you actually launched and published a book. And so that I think that will keep us busy. And I just wanted to note for anyone, we are doing a promotion of Mike's book. So if you want to grab a free copy of Level Up, if you are interested in strengths, if you've ever taken the Gallup assessment, this book is for you. This is like the thing that Gallup is missing. Yes, we can't say that. It is more broadly strengths based, right? But how to use your strengths in really strategic ways. So we've linked it up here, paperravenbooks.com/level up. Grab your free copy. And Mike, kind of coming back over to you, what has life been like on the other side as a published author?
Well, thanks, Morgan. It's been quite a ride, and as you said, we published in our delivery date to publish was scheduled for Cinco de Mayo. We actually got in a little bit under the wire, and we published on Amazon on April 25th.
Yeah, that's right.
So we had a 5-day promo that got great results the first week that we launched, and then we did another one 3 months later, and we can talk about that a bit later. What our philosophy was on that. But from the launch of Level Up and the 2 5-day promos that the Paper Raven team has won, we have been awarded 8 #1 bestseller rankings on Amazon so far. So we'll see if we get any more this week.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so maybe that's something that a gap I can kind of help us fill in is why are we continuing to do promotions? And one thing that many first-time authors may not realize is that 70% of books are sold on the Amazon platform. When you add up ebook, paperback, hardback, audiobook, 70% are sold on the Amazon platform. And that was before COVID. So our 2020 numbers will probably show even more books being bought on the Amazon platform. And the way that Amazon organizes its bookstore is based on keywords and categories, right? It's a search engine. And so how do you kind of gamify that? Amazon needs to see a lot of traffic go through your book so that it can match it with the best sorts of readers, so that it puts your book in front of new readers. And so what we're kind of doing is we're playing with the ebook. We're able to use the ebook to get your book into 7 different keywords, 10 different categories, and we can set it for free every 90 days. And that just gives us an opportunity to drive more traffic through it and help really optimize that Amazon algorithm. And what's fun is that now I think this is the 3rd one after the launch that we're doing now. And your book pops to #1s in its favorite categories so quickly now. It's already hit. I mean, I see right now it's in occupational organizational psychology, management skills, right? And so it just sort of finds those grooves and gets right back up there in front of some new readers. And so that's what we're doing, right? We're gamifying this Amazon store to help your book get visible there. And then what you're doing on the side is actually going out and going after more reviews, more independent reviews. I was wondering if you would tell us a little bit about, and we were just talking about this off screen, or off camera, some of the Reader's Favorite editorial review that you've received and the Writer's Digest things that you have applied for. Can you kind of give us your thoughts and strategy around those?
Sure, absolutely. Well, When you're for those of you who are writing a book, and it wasn't long ago that I was writing a book. One of your sort of unspoken thoughts to yourself, at least to myself, was, "Gee, I'd like to at the other end of this come out and have a nice book that helps me be a recognized expert or a thought leader." And once the book is out, there's a pause, there's a quiet time, and you think, well, now the sales are going well, and the Paper Raven team is doing a great job of keeping the momentum up, but you don't feel like you're being recognized by the real thought leaders who would be the people in the space that you'd like to be considered to on the team that you'd like to be considered a member of. And the way to do that, it's just another level of visibility, really. It's nothing mystical about it. But book reviews are the path to rewards, and rewards are the path to recognition, and recognition is one of the paths to being considered a thought leader, which is one of the paths to helping promote further book sales. So it's cyclical in nature, and actually it's a lot of fun to enter these awards. But I needed to consider, well, which ones shall we go after? And it's just like when you're writing a book, you're thinking, what topics can I shed new light on and create a new premise around that people are likely to respond to and find useful? And so when I was looking at the different organizations that offered awards, I was thinking, which ones of these, and Morgan used the term gamify, which is, you really are doing that. You're not looking for absolute praise to be the best and final book in the world. You're looking for where can you present yourself in the best way in your niche. And so I look at the categories that you can enter, and some of the awards have categories that my book just wouldn't qualify for. And so, as Morgan said, some of the categories we're number one in are related to business leadership, business skills, occupational and organizational psychology, project management, things like this. So, taking that as a cue, which is how the market has responded, because the judges are a function of the market, right? The judges are in the market. So I looked for book award organizations that had categories that matched the categories that we were doing well in. And you read, there's a lot of discussion around book awards, that some are just for the ego of the author, and some are truly ways for the general public to learn more about great works that they can access. And the granddaddy of all book awards, of course, is the New York Times Book Award, and Morgan is an expert on that. If any of you want to learn some revealing facts about why you don't want to go after the New York Times Book Award, talk to Morgan. And
let's just say it's political and more effort than it's really worth.
Little key. So, but Writer's Digest is I found the two most general, the nice, well-run, organized, well-respected book awards are the Writer's Digest book awards, which have a lot of entrants from around the world, a lot of competition there, but a lot of categories. And Reader's Favorite, which is a great source of information about new books for people who want to read and learn new things. So I entered Writer's Digest, and as Morgan said, we've entered two Writer's Digest book awards. We entered the main one, which no way on earth would a humble self-published author have a chance of winning one of those, although because there are a lot of commercial books from the big five publishers in the Writer's Digest book awards, but we didn't receive an award there, but they do give you a review, and Level Up received a 5-star review, and it's very well written by a judge who's actually a poet, and I believe she lives in India, but she's well respected around the world. and we posted that review on our Amazon page of Level Up. And I would say, Morgan, it's probably what, 200 words.
Yeah.
It's it's pretty extensive.
Yep.
And then Writer's Digest also has a self-published author award, which is very encouraging because people like me do have a chance in that. And the judges are working on that now. So we're entered in that, fingers crossed. And we also entered Reader's Choice,
Mhm.
and the Reader's Choice Book Awards is a large competition, and we received a very nice review from one of their judges, a 5-star review, and we have posted that also in our on our website. Then there's a third category of book awards that I think is a very well run competition, which is called Nautilus. Nautilus is in the swirly seashell
Mhm.
competition, and they have categories that seem to be a good fit for Level Up, and and they have some interesting categories too that I entered because other authors I know have been successful in getting in. So here we are gamifying, right?
Yeah.
So we want to enter the categories where we're trying to make the biggest impression, and we also want to enter categories where we have a chance of winning. You know,
Yes.
so that's my finite experience of book awards.
Yeah, well, I love it, and it hits strategy in two different ways. One is that if you win one of these awards, your book is put in front of a new audience, right? It's a new traffic source in a sense. There's a whole new set of eyeballs that will see the book that might not otherwise have seen the book at all, and it's in a light of prestige, right? Because it's being recommended by a verified, trusted source. So that's amazing. It's a great, credible traffic source. The other way is to improve the traffic that we're already doing. So this is a wonderful way to just like dovetail the strategies. We're able to take these reviews and critiques and put them on the Amazon sales page, which is already getting traffic because of our promotions, the keywords, the categories, all of those things, and on your Level Up website, which has its own traffic, typically through Google. Is how websites get traffic. So that's a totally different category of traffic conversation. But when you're able to have one effort that gets you multiple wins, that's what we all want to do, right? And so going after these readers' favorites, Writer's Digest, nautical kinds of awards is a great idea. And I think that something that you do really well that people may not think about is you also continue to talk about the book to your personal network. And I know that you are big on LinkedIn. You have lots of connections there. You're in the business and leadership space, right? So you are a coach. You do work with executives and people who are leaders, and that's what Level Up is all about, right? So anyone who's in the leadership space looking for self-improvement, professional development, like this is the book for those sorts of folks. And again, just a quick plug, if you want to check out Level Up, if you're into strengths and assessments and wanting to perform better, be a high achiever, you already are a high achiever who wants to perform better, paperravenbooks.com/level up, free copy today, so grab it. I'd love to talk about LinkedIn and how you're using your personal network, Mike.
Sure, let's do that, Morgan. Well, social media, we think of the internet as being one large monolithic thing that we can access parts of, but it's really not that at all, is it? It's a bunch of little tiny finite things, and in the social media space, I suppose there are three large players. There's Facebook, of course, and we're on Facebook today, the most popular, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And I'm not so much Facebook, or I'm not a Twitter person at all. But LinkedIn is very good for people in the business and the organizational space, profits and nonprofits, any kind of people who are working together in teams. And the purpose for any organization is to create a space for teams to do their work. Unless you have two or more people, you really don't need an organization. But we all work in organizations, don't we, on teams? So LinkedIn has been terrific, and there are just so many ways that you can, either groups you can join or ways you can search for either PLU, people like us, or people who are thought leaders, or people who you think you have something to offer. So I like to contact. I've started at. I probably had 20 contacts when Morgan and I published the book. And I have to say that most of my book promotion uh, efforts since publishing it have been on LinkedIn. And uh, the open rate for, say, a mass marketing campaign, if you send out a large mailer and or you're a blogger and you have an offer of some sort, and Morgan would be expert on these rates, but they, just say 1% would be kind of an average, and 10% would be really high. And I have 1,300 contacts on LinkedIn that are I would say 1,000 of them are handpicked by me. And then once you start meeting people, I probably had 1,000 people ask me to be contacts, but some of them are not really appropriate to, uh, I'm not sure why they were asking me, but I probably have 300 contacts of people who have contacted me. And once you start meeting other authors and other thought leaders, they spread the word. And there's nothing better than a thought leader holding up a picture of, holding up your book. Where's the camera? On LinkedIn, which Dory Clark did, I'm a big fan of, and we got a nice jump in sales that day. And uh, uh, Jeffrey Hall, who's one of the thought leaders at Harvard, has written very kindly about the book, and we posted his review on Amazon. And I would say that the contacts on LinkedIn have been the most promising way to get the word out about the book. And I know it's generated a lot of sales. And my on LinkedIn, you don't want to be asking people for something. You want to be giving them something, because so I send out a preliminary ping to just thank them for the kind of work they're doing, and I specifically reference what they're doing and what they've accomplished. I do my homework and think about who they are and what they're trying to do, and how something I have may be of use to them. And if they respond positively, which I would say 10% do. So in other words, to have 1,300 contacts, I've probably contacted 13,000 people. Is that possible?
Possible.
It's possible. And then I'll respond with a link to the book and how they might be able to use it. And when you send a link to your book through a LinkedIn contact, LinkedIn, it's the best free service in the world. They pop up a full page image of the cover of your book to your recipient.
Wow.
With a link to the book on Amazon.
It's a direct ad. It's an ad that lands right in there from someone who's their connection.
Yeah. And LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, so yep. Microsoft's not getting any of the proceeds from Amazon, at least as far as I'm aware. But it's just a marvelous way to give you optimism, and I'm sure you could use this same process with Facebook, which would be a slightly different, is offer them something, and then when they respond and acknowledge them, and when they respond positively, give them something.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on LinkedIn, you can do these posts just like Facebook. So we have a post on LinkedIn with a picture of the book offering a free book. And my only concern is all the people that I've made the book available to who could buy the ebook for $9.99. Some of those will say, oh, now it's free. But that's the risk we take, right?
Sure. I don't think people really mind. I mean, people who love reading books, they don't mind paying for the book, and maybe they'll use the free promotion as a way to share with one of their colleagues. That's the real hope.
That's how I always have an addendum on there and saying, if you do already have your book, please feel free to share this. And this would be your gift to your friends and your colleagues, and they like
That's
that.
perfect. It gives them a reason to share it. You know, they might have read the book and enjoyed it, and maybe they didn't take any further action, but then they see this thing pop up and like, oh, Mike's book, Level Up. I actually really enjoyed that book. It's on promotion right now today. Well, sure, this is the reason. I'm going to go ahead and share it now when they wouldn't have otherwise. They would have just continued on with a busy day. But this sort of pauses them. Is that just that interruption or interruption marketing, where you're grabbing them on a feed and you're giving them a reason to take an action now. So I think it's brilliant. I love the way that you're using LinkedIn. I think for those of us who are writing nonfiction books, we're a coach, consultant, speaker, growing a business. I mean, the way that you use LinkedIn is remarkable and extremely powerful. So yeah, that's something that all of us could do more of, self included. Yeah. So is there anything else? We'll probably wrap up here in just a few minutes. And if you're still watching with us, I encourage you, go ahead and grab Mike's book while it's free. While you're here thinking about it, Level Up. If you're into strengths, assessments, professional development, doing better at the things you do, then you can go to paperravenbooks.com/level up, grab a free copy today, share it with a friend if you've already read it. If you've read it, leave a review. It's the best thing you can do for any author, especially us independent authors. What's it like to be a published author, Mike? Like, if you could think back to kind of the self before you published the book, I don't know, is there anything that you're surprised that's happened for you in the last few months?
Well, there really is, Morgan, because on the other side of being published is work. You're keeping your head down, you're trying to write your book. The team is making sure that you get a good book out there, but you don't really, other than fantasize about what it's like to be a published author and to hopefully have some nice ratings. You don't think about how it's going to change you, but I can tell you it changes you, because you're the same person, but people think of you differently in a good way. And I mentioned earlier recognized expert or thought leader, and I would like to be moving toward those things, and other people seem to think that I am, but it's not me, because I haven't changed. The book helps them think that I am. So you can't say all of a sudden your friends are a better class of people, but the professional people who are interested in your thoughts are of a higher caliber. They just are. You have a lot of people call a book an expensive calling card, which it is, but it does get you in more doors. And I enjoy it very much. It's Morgan warned me that writing a book was was half of the journey, and marketing it would be the other half. And I refused to listen to that when I was writing it, because I thought writing a book was a lot of work. But marketing a book is a lot of work, but you get instant rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Because people either respond positively or they don't. And if they don't, you change your message a little bit, how you filter what you're giving them in a way so that you can use your book as a conduit to offer value to other people. And you'd be surprised how many ways you can come up with to do that. And I'd like to, if we have 1 minute here, you asked kind of two questions there, and the other one was the first question was more about parting thoughts. And I think this would be a good time to acknowledge the world that we're in, because this year, if you were to pick a one word to describe 2020, and that word could not be election, what would it be? Well, it would be COVID, right, or the coronavirus. And this thing has turned life upside down for all of us, and not all of us, all of everybody, all of everyone else. And we had an interest. I'll give you an interesting anecdote here. Is the Level Up had been written and was ready to publish, but the coronavirus was starting. And I mentioned that we published on April 25th. and the numbers were going the wrong direction with the coronavirus. And we were watching that very carefully because everybody was very, very distracted. And I watched some metrics, which I'm doing again today because we're entering another phase of it. And thank goodness we have a vaccine on the way here. And when I saw one of the metrics that I followed was forecast to drop, and there's a site on the internet where you can see this, I thought we have to wait until we see a perceived drop and then time our launch where people aren't so concerned about surviving, because the book is about self-actualization. But what do you think about first when you're being threatened, right? You don't think about the future. You think about the present is just consuming. And we saw that metric drop a little bit, which was the one I happened to use was the occupancy of ICU beds. And then it was forecast to drop. And that was kind of a confidence builder for thinking about the future. And, if your book is coming out now, you have the -2 of that because there's another, I was just looking at these numbers a moment ago, and there's a forecast for another pretty big spike in spite of the virus between, it looks like January 10th and February 10th. I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday who's a risk manager of one of the largest, most technically competent technology companies on the planet. And they have access to information that's way beyond what we all would get. And he said, we're thinking about returning to the office in June or July. Boy, isn't that a confidence builder? And by return to the office, he imagined a building with, pick a number, 200, 2,000 people. And those buildings are all empty now. All those teams aren't working. So when people start to come together, I think this country is going to be, people are going to be just excited, and Morgan's children will be in school.
I will be so excited to get out of my house.
It'll be a great year. I mean, a wonderful watershed year for our country and for our lives and for all of us as authors coming up in the not too distant future, 6-7 months away. So I see a world of opportunity there.
Yes. When you're able to take this book out to live rooms with live people at live events, that's going to be fun. And sign the books and hand the book to another person and not have to sanitize the book in the transition. And you're doing all the groundwork now. That's something, Mike, I'm so glad you brought this up because I know so many authors who are holding their breath, just waiting for the world to return, and then I'll publish the book. I know it was risky, and I know in our conversations we sort of talked about, when do we do this? What are we doing? What's the best play here? And ultimately you decided, let's do it. Let's just go for it. And I wholeheartedly agree, that you putting the book out, even though, it was still 2020, and laying this foundation is going to make a massive difference in 2021 and the next year for you, because you're getting the social proof on Amazon, both your reviews from regular readers, your colleagues, and people who and people who are finding the book, from reviewers and judges who you're sort of reaching out to. You're getting the contact on LinkedIn. And then when it's time for all of us to kind of start actually intermingling again and being in rooms together again, you're going to show up in that room as an author. You've already been an author for a year. Here's my book. I'm feeling totally confident about it. And I think, it's writing and publishing a book is much like planting a tree. Should have done it a few years ago. Let's do it now. And I think you're going to really reap those rewards coming up. So anyone who's thinking about their book, Mike and I would say, maybe now's the time. Maybe let's go ahead and get it out there so that you can start reaping those rewards. And you're right. I mean, in context of the Level Up content itself is about self-actualization and taking the best aspects of yourself and really improving upon those, really leaning into your unique strengths and how that can really show up in a much better life, really professionally, personally, in all the ways. This is the type of book that let's read now and start putting into practice now, because the world is going to continue to change. Even as we go back to quote unquote normal, it's going to be a new world. There will be new types of jobs, new competition, new ways that we can express ourselves in work and travel and life and all these things. And if we want to really live to the fullest and really thrive, this kind of book is exactly what the world is going to need in sort of the next generation, the next iteration of who we are and who we're becoming. So thank you, Mike. Thank you for bringing this conversation to us. Thank you for sharing with us what you've been doing since you published. And thank you for writing this book. It's really such a blessing to so many people. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Morgan. And thank you and the Paper Raven team for your help. Could not have done it without you.
We're honored to have been on the journey with you and still be on the journey with you. It's a fun ride. Awesome. Y'all have a great day. Go catch Mike's book. It's free today. You can grab your copy, level up, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.